It's time to get down to business on TK Business Live, brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association. Now, let's join Tara Dimmick, owner and publisher of TK Business Magazine, as we take a look into the business world of Topeka, Kansas.
Hi, and welcome to TK Business Live. I'm Tara Dimmick, and it's great to be with you today. We have Marvin Spees joining us here shortly. He's with Capital City Oil. And then Glenda Washington with Go Topeka and Angel Zimmerman with Zimmerman and Zimmerman will be joining us to talk about the Women of Influence Awards that will be happening here August 24th. Marvin Spees is joining me. Marvin is the president over at Capital City Oil. Welcome, Marvin.
Hi, how are you? Good to be here.
Good. It's good to have you. It's always exciting to have Marvin in the studio because you never know what he might say, so I'm looking forward to this interview.
I'll try not to offend everyone. Maybe just some people.
Maybe just, at least we have that disclaimer out there now.
Exactly.
So we're good. So, Marvin, tell me a little bit about Capital City Oil and how it came to be, because I was always thinking that you kind of had created it, but tell us about that.
No, I am a member of the Lucky Sperm Club, which means that I grew up in the business. My father had a partner, Frank Smith. They started Capital City Oil in 1960, and they had a warehouse right where the jail is now. And so the county took their warehouse by eminent domain, so their accountant told them if they're ever going to retire, they needed to do it within the next 12 months. So we drew up a contract, and I bought them out the beginning of 1985.
Wow.
So I'm not sure I really knew what I was getting into at the time, but no, it's been good.
They were excited. They knew what you were getting into. They're like, whoa, yeah, we're retiring. Sure, Marvin.
Yeah, send us a check every month. So
this is great. Okay, so I'm an oil field kid. I grew up in oil field business. We did fishing tools, and I didn't do any of that. I got to clean all the fishing tools, and so my dad went in and recovered any tools. So I have enough knowledge of oil that I can be dangerous. But you're on a different side of that. So tell me a little bit about what Capital City Oil, what the services are, and what you do.
We're on the refined side of the business, so we buy product from about 12 different people on the light end side. Light ends means gas, diesel fuel, kerosene, those type of things. And then we are a First Source Chevron lubricants marketer, which is one of their top tiers for handling gear oils, heavy-duty engine oils, greases, all of those kind of things. So we are the middleman. We buy from somebody and sell to the end user. Okay,
so you have a lot of different things that you do with businesses specifically. And I think about your fleet service right now, right? Anyone can get gas at any of your fleet locations?
We have 14 unattended card lock facilities in northeast Kansas. So we like to say that we're in the fuel management business, not necessarily the fuel business. So the selling point for us is the fact that we can get guys in and out of our location in a matter of minutes. Instead of stopping at a convenience store, they go in to get coffee and donuts and flirt with the gal behind the counter. There's nothing like that to do at our place. It's in and out. And then we send a detailed report electronically or by paper once a week. Actually, you can get it online anytime you want it. But it details when the fuel was purchased, how much was purchased, the price per gallon, the miles per gallon. It collates all of the taxes. So if there's a tax-exempt job, it separates federal tax, state tax. It separates it by vehicle. So it slices and dices it several different ways.
That's really important because with DOT regulations, you're depending on your people to do that if you're not doing that. So that's a pretty important service right there.
Exactly. And we know that we have a lot of our customers that just send our management report in to the IRS or DOT, whoever needs that report, so they don't have to recreate the report again.
Yeah, that's important because I know businesses that have been talking about hiring an entire person just to do the job of what they need to put into the report for DOT. and you're doing it for them.
We are.
That's impressive. Okay, so you have other services, because I know that when it comes to generators and things like that, you're also helping businesses in that area. Can you talk a little bit about?
We have a fleet fueling business, which we do equipment fill at night. So when the equipment's parked, we come into the lot and just go right down the line, fill equipment with gas, diesel, off-road diesel, so that when the crew comes, so if you have 2 or 3 guys in the truck and they stop at a convenience store for 30 minutes, the meter's running on all 3 of those guys the next morning. We charge more. We charge by the hour plus for the fuel. But if you do the math on it, it pencils out for a lot of companies. So the truck's always full of fuel in the morning when they get ready to go.
Wow.
Our emergency generator program is we have people sign up at several different levels to monitor their fuel in an emergency generator. So we not only refresh the fuel, we clean the tank every so often, but we make sure that they have a 12-hour window once they need fuel that we're there. So somebody like a Cap Fed doesn't need to call us and say, hey, our generator's been running. We've only got 2 hours of fuel left on our generator. We're on top of it because we're monitoring, and we know that. So they go to the top of the list rather than having to call in.
Wow. Okay, so what services am I missing? Because you've already, the fleet one where you went and fueled, I had no idea you could do that. So that's very cool. We deliver to a lot of farmers. They're heavy usage planting and harvest season. So some of those guys call, bring me 1,000 gallons of diesel fuel. We do a lot of people just delivering fuel off of the tank wagon, just on that basis or a route basis. We have a lot of customers that we stop by once a week, top their tank off, once a month, depend on how often they use it. And then we're also on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days for the railroad, both UP and BNSF. So we fuel a lot of locomotives out on the main line. So we basically have people working around the clock. So if somebody wants something delivered at 3 a.m., that's when they're going to get it. Wow. Okay, so Marvin, I want to know a little bit about your business experience. So what have been the best parts about being a business owner? I didn't give him any heads up on this one.
Everybody says, I get to come and go and do as I want. But as a business owner, that means you get to pick which 80 hours a week you work. Mm-hmm. So I can go play golf in the middle of the afternoon. So hopefully, and which I do every now and then, not often enough, but, that makes up for all the nights that I've slept on a steering wheel out there waiting on a locomotive to show up that needed to be fueled.
Right, because I'm sure you've done every single job out there more than you ever wanted to.
We have plenty of experience. We don't need any more practice, but we think that we're experts in the diesel fuel business and the lubricant business. So that's what we concentrate on. We sell to commercial, industrial, and ag customers. That's it. We don't do any retail where we have a bunch of convenience stores. That's just not our niche.
So if somebody's listening and they're thinking, oh my gosh, we could do that with our fleet, we should have them be part of our generator system, what do they need to do to connect with you?
Just call us or go on our website, capitalcityoil.com. And there's a tab on there just for the emergency fueling. There's a tab on there for the card lock or the fleet fueling, or give us a call.
Great. Okay, so I have two more things because I know that you've had two things going on. One is the PC11 education seminar.
PC11 is a new specification for heavy-duty engine oils, which the government is mandating. All of the engine manufacturers and oil manufacturers have to be able to meet that spec. Chevron has always been the leader in the research and development. Usually they're always one step ahead of all of the other oil manufacturers. So they'll be able to meet it without any problem. That comes into effect towards the end of the year. So we are having free seminars in September, one in Manhattan, one in Topeka, and one in Kansas City. So if you have new engines, are going to be buying new trucks, the new engine spec is coming, new oil spec, which you have to have. We're all going to have to learn together.
It is a learning process whenever those new regulations
or we just love it when the government gets into our business and everybody else's.
Right. It's always helpful. So if they want to go to that, they can call over at Capital City Oil, or I have an email here. Do you want me to mention it?
Sure.
Okay, they said call or email Jessica is jessicam@capitalcityoil.com. And then the other new thing is the new location.
We have a new warehouse in North Kansas City, Missouri, to serve the Kansas City market. Before, we were in a leased space, and they wanted more room, and we kind of needed more room, and so we bought our own building in North Kansas City. So the address is 1128 Swift, which is just 2 blocks off Burlington. Keep wanting to say Burlingame, but Burlington in North Kansas City. So that we have 2 trucks that operate out of there, delivering Chevron lubricants around the Kansas City area.
So I see a ton. Speaking of trucks, how many trucks do you got here in Topeka?
Way too many.
There's a lot.
I have somewhere around 20.
Okay, I was going to say I see a lot.
We used to have more. We got out of the propane business 8 years ago, so simplified life a little bit. So no, we still have a lot of trucks, and we try to keep them running a lot.
Okay, one last question. What advice would you give a business owner?
Oh goodness, you got to have the passion. You got to want to take care of your customers. I never did really have an intention of the business being as big as it is. It's always been fun, and I tell our people the first day I wake up and I dread going in. I mean, the place is for sale. Mm-hmm. So it's still fun. Love taking care of our customers, especially, when somebody's in a bind, if they're broke down nights, weekends, that's where it's good for us. That's where we can shine. So, if they're not making money, if they're in a tough spot, and we can't come through for them, anybody can deliver product 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. But business isn't always that way. Farm doesn't always work that way. You got to go whenever the sun's shining, and sometimes you got to turn the lights on and go at night. Mm-hmm. So we love taking care of our customers. We got a great group of customers. Hopefully they see it that we're in a partnership with them. And that's why we like to take care of them, and that's why they trust us to take care of them.
Well, that's great. Marvin, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
My name is Ken Daniel, and the name of my company is Midway Wholesale.
What is TIBA? TIBA is advice and support. TIBA is information and education. TIBA is a voice for small business.
It's amazing the changes that we've gotten made in state law to the point where we had a list at one time and it's just about finished.
The Topeka Independent Business Association is strong because of its members. Become a member today by visiting topekatiba.org.
I have Glenda Washington, Vice President of the Entrepreneurial and Minority Business Development out at Go Topeka, and Angel Zimmerman, Managing Partner for Zimmerman & Zimmerman, joining me. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right, so we have really important things to talk about. The Women's Initiative is something that you chaired, Angel. So tell me about the Women's Initiative.
Okay, we started the Women's Initiative 3 years ago. It started out with a forum that had a couple dozen women, and then we really understood the need for this because the next year it grew to a couple hundred.
Wow.
So that was pretty exciting. And then we also started the Women of Influence Awards. And that took off immediately with a couple hundred responses. More than 60 women being nominated into the position. So we very, very excited to see how quickly this took off.
So why the Women's Initiative? Why was that important for Go Topeka to get involved with?
Well, we wanted to have the opportunity to educate, recognize, and celebrate women and all that they do in the community. We have some phenomenal women in this community, and we didn't want it to go unnoticed. And so this was a great opportunity for us to profile these women in the community. So when we started with the Women of Influence Awards, we really didn't realize that it was going to make such a big impact. Like Angel said, the first year was good. The second year, we got 150 nominations.
Wow.
And the third year, this year, we've got a ton of nominations as well. So it's going to be really hard deciding on who is the woman of influence and the other categories. But we're really excited about the opportunity to celebrate and profile those great women in our community.
Yeah, I mean, let's just talk about some of those past honorees. So there's 6 different categories. Talk about the 6 categories and some of the past honorees of those categories.
All right. So we have Outstanding Entrepreneur, Woman of Achievement, Rising Star, Community Service, Education, and Mentorship. And so in year 1, Outstanding Entrepreneur was Diana Ramirez. And then in year 2 was Martha Pyland. So
yeah, those are great
women in our community.
Yeah. Diana is the owner of Express Employment Professionals, and Martha, we've had her on the show. Well, we've had Diana on the show multiple times, and Martha is with MV Pyland Advertising and Marketing, and really both of those women have been such a big impact in our community.
You say Martha Pyland, and people immediately know quality. You
exactly
say Diana, and they follow suit as well. And we're really excited to have nominated them and awarded them the plaque for the past 2 years. And then year 2, the next category, Women of Achievement. Year 1 was Amanda Kiefer from Federal Home Loan Bank. Amanda's a young, up-and-coming vice president over at Federal Home Loan. And then year 2 was Dr. Brenda Dietrich. And you all know she's retired from Auburn Washburn School.
Yeah, so. Again, another 2 incredible women. And Amanda over at Federal Home Loan Bank was doing amazing things with looking at equality and diversity. And it's just amazing what she's done with the short amount of time that she's had to be working in general.
She has truly made an impact and continues to. We're working on a purchasing initiative. So we think that that's going to make an even bigger impact. You know, they have that new big building that they're doing over at Top of the Hill.
Yeah.
And so we're looking forward to making sure that small businesses have a piece of the pie, get involved in contracts there, find out what's happening so that they can bid on these opportunities. So
again, looking at the big picture.
The big picture, yes.
That's really cool. And Dr. Brenda Dietrich, I mean, that's all that needs to be said.
Yes. Yes.
She's a rock star.
Yes, she is. We're excited about, who's going to come next to follow these 2 women of achievement, because these 2 were top of the line.
They were. Okay, so Rising Star.
Yeah, this was very inspirational to see younger women bringing up and making an impact in the Topeka community. So year 1 was Sarah Fazell. She has been a rock star in so many areas, especially helping the nonprofits. She's been a big help with the Informed Voter Project as well, which has been significant in our community. And then Stephanie Heston came in with the Kansas Ballet Academy, and her story was so inspiring.
I know. She's amazing. And to decide to come back to Kansas.
To come back home.
Yeah.
Yes.
She, dancing in New York City and professionally dancing, and her husband and now their daughter moved back to Topeka and have huge aspirations for what they can do for the community.
They are really doing a good job. You talk to Stephanie, she is just so humble, but she is really a superstar in this community. Really is. So.
And it's only just begun with both those 2.
Yeah, and I'm glad we could uncover that so that now everybody knows we're sharing. And then community service, Glenda Du Bois and Anita Walgas. So year 1 was Glenda, year 2 was Anita Walgas.
Yeah.
Those ladies are everywhere, doing a little bit of everything. And it's only fitting that we recognize those individuals that are volunteering at the highest level in our community.
Yeah, I can't wait to see who's next. Those 2 women are amazing.
Absolutely. Then we go on to education, and that was Joanna Lastly and then Dr. Beryl New. And it was amazing. I don't know that I've heard a more inspiring story when listening to Dr. New. So good to see everything that she's doing for the Highland Park area. And then obviously Joanna with Helen Hawker is a
again,
stable.
two amazing women. Dr. New has brought so many great things to Highland Park students that just in the last few years, how many things she said we need this for our kids.
She's really focused on the children and their education. And so we embrace that by, seeing what we can do. I'm with the service organization, and we reach out as much as we possibly can to see how we can help as well.
Yeah, there's been some great partnerships there. Okay, mentorship. This one's a big one tonight. This is a big one. When somebody says that you're their mentor, this is a big deal.
This is a big one. And they were very humble, right? Absolutely. So the Honorable Cindy Berry and then Justice Marla Luker, those two ladies were very, very humble, but they've done a lot in the community. Actually, you've worked with them, so you could speak on them.
Especially Justice Lukert, really, as an attorney myself, really took me under wing, and I have been president of the Women Attorneys Association of Topeka and the Kansas Women Attorneys Association, which she inspired both of those 25 and 30 years ago.
Well, and it's interesting that they both happen to be the Honorable and Justice, but I've heard it's part of the culture. I've heard that it's when a judge they're often asked to be a mentor to someone, and they're asked, how did you do this path? How do I do this path? So there's something in the culture there that is very special in mentorship.
Especially, and just this weekend, the Kansas Women Attorneys Association will be meeting in Lindsborg. So there'll be over 150 attorneys and judges who are all basically women doing continuing legal education classes together, and absolutely exactly this mentorship.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so talk about this. Talk about the third year. What's going on? When is it happening? What do people need to know?
Well, the third year is our celebration is on August 24th. It's over at the Capitol Plaza, and it's from 5:30 to 7:30. And that evening is always the best. I had chills. I have chills thinking about it. Had chills each year that we did it. We'll have a nice opening reception. This is complimentary, by the way. You don't have to pay anything to get there. You just have to RSVP. And you RSVP at www.gotopeka.com/event. But it's free. It's a way to celebrate our community, and it's sponsored by Westar. So we'd like for you to, if you want to come and see what some of the cream of the crop of our community is as it relates to women, please feel free to join us. It's August the 24th at Capitol Plaza, 5:30 to 7:30.
Great. Well, I have to say, as I look at who all gets nominated or have an awareness just based off of my own nominations that I've placed out there, it is the cream of the crop. Yeah. It's really amazing women, and there's some great women just doing some amazing things here in our community. So how about just a little bit more about the event? Keynote speaker?
So our keynote speaker is Dr. Preddy LeConte. She's a graduate of Shawnee Heights, and she's a Washburn grad. So we are bringing her back to this community just to kind of share some of her knowledge. She has a master's in healthcare management from Harvard, and she's a doctor of podiatry. She currently works at Cerner. She's a global healthcare strategist there, and so she really is bringing some of that. Really, the things that we don't do a lot of times as women is talk on another level. We talk about our business, but we don't go to the next level. And so this brings it to another level. She talks about strategy. She talks about data gathering. She talks about supporting women. She talks about, what is the next step in your, what's your next step down the path of growing as far as a woman is concerned. And so this is really going to be one of the most outstanding ceremonies that we have had. I'm really, really excited about it. I know that she'll push it to the next level.
Well, it sounds like a great time. I will plan to be there, and I hope you plan to be there. So go check it out. It's, again, just go to the Go Topeka website, gotopeka.com/event, and it's right there, and you just sign up because it's free, which is amazing, by the way. Yes, amazing. And, one of the things that always kind of comes up whenever you talk about these events is why does it matter? Why is it important that we talk about women and women in business and women out in the community? Why? Why do we do this?
Our population of women is so broad, and we don't really even know it. We have 157 million of females in this country. And it's our responsibility as who we are, you, Tara, you, Angel, and myself to do what we can to push the needle forward. There's still a glass ceiling, and we don't talk about it.
Right.
There's still opportunity for us to push women forward, and we don't generally do it. And so I was talking to a lady the other day, and this young lady, I asked her to tell me a little bit about herself. And she was very timid. I already knew her background. And I'm saying, come on, sister, we've got to move it up a little bit. We've got to be able to talk about us like our counterparts, our male counterparts, talk about themselves. And so let us begin to kind of have that conversation where we share who we are, and we're proud of it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's something kind of innately not what we want to do initially. Somebody asked me to tell me for me to tell them my story, and I just like almost froze up trying to spit it out. And it's like, I've got it might not be. Well, I think it's interesting. It's kind of funny. It's not good.
Well, currently on the national level, there are 23 CEOs of the S&P 500, and no one really knows that. So I would say that we need to start researching how women are moving in this country, at what level they are, and then how we can be a sort of a catalyst to help them move to the next level.
One of the things that we absolutely know, and research has borne out, is that promoting women is a win-win to our community. And so one of the things that we have learned through statistics, and Washburn was great at hosting an event that said that when women are on boards, those companies experience higher financial returns.
Wow.
And they were able to do a direct link between women being on boards and commissions. And so that's one of the things that we are wanting to do here in Kansas and in Topeka. The Women's Foundation has come in and commissioned a study with KU and researched Kansas and Kansas women. Mm-hmm. And one of the projects that we are going to be bringing to Topeka as well is the Women's Appointment Project. One of the things that we've learned is that women have a hard time promoting themselves. And so this is an opportunity for us to select women. And the other thing that we know about women is we have to appear to be 100% or 150% qualified before we will go into a position. And so if we've not served on a board before, then we don't volunteer. And so the Appointment Project is going to come in and teach us how to be on a board, in a commission, and Robert's rules and those types of things. So we will feel comfortable coming in and impacting our community so that we can experience these types of results.
That's amazing. That will be so exciting.
And then finally, just to talk about women business owners. Women business owners employ 7.9 million workers. That's 7.9 million workers, providing over 7 jobs among privately owned businesses. So women are really picking up the slack for the community. There are 4 businesses in Kansas a day that open, and they're women. 4 women-owned businesses open per day. And so I would just wanted to have you go out and look at the Catalyst survey, the Catalyst report, and look at those findings, and you will be amazed at what an impact women are making on the national economy, and then break it down to Kansas and look at what they're doing for Kansas. So we are just ready for the next phase of celebrating women, helping us build this new phenomenon we call women leadership, and helping us get them placed on boards. So this is just one phase of what the Women of Influence will be doing and what the initiative is all about.
Thank you, ladies. This is great stuff. Great stuff. It's exciting to think about it. Okay, so to repeat that again, August 24th is the Women of Influence Awards. You need to consider going to this. This is a great event that celebrates the women, and in doing so, it celebrates all the businesses and Topeka at large and Shawnee County. So consider that, August 24th, Capitol Plaza, 5:30 to 7:30. It's a free event. Go register at gotopeka.com/event, or you can always call Marianne over at the Chamber and Go Topeka office, which is 785-231-6000. Ladies, thank you so much. Thanks for all you're doing for women here in our community. Thanks so much for joining me on TK Business Live. Thanks to my guests, and thanks to our sponsor, the Topeka Independent Business Association. You can learn more about them at topekatiba.org. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a great week.
Thanks for joining Tara and her guests on TK Business Live. Join us again next Sunday at 11:30 to hear more from our community business leaders, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in the landscape of how business is progressively moving forward in Topeka. TK Business Live is brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association.